Good. All right. So can you all see Audrey?
Hi, Audrey.
Hi, Sharon,
How are you?
Linda, Suzanne, Miss Faith. I gotta still get over and meet the neighbors. I've waved to them, Faith, but I gotta go visit. Hi, Cheryl. This is Isabella.
Yes.
16.
Aw, she's so cute.
I've had her for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years. That's her nervous tongue, but anyway,
Oh,
love you guys.
Up a little bit. Okay. Okay, we've got a few snackies here. Okay, just a few more minutes and we'll get started. Let everybody say hi. I need to get a camera that I could turn around. I have one, but not here too. I can, sure. Actually, maybe I could do that. Sorry, guys. Trying something here. So you can see everybody, because I guess it doesn't matter which direction I go. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. I think we're good. There, everybody's there. Say hi. Say, if you say hi to everybody. Everybody's online. You what?
John's online.
Oh, there's Christine. It's pointed right at Christine. No, I would never say that to you.
No, he has the camera facing me. No, my laptop.
That's why my wife.
Okay, y'all, you know how realtors are, so we'll get a couple more minutes and we'll get started, please.
Oh, well, yeah, just. Yeah, but she can do it herself. But if I notice that she isn't, all I do is go with my hands. I love her with it. And then I. Well, it's a little bit bigger, but. Gotta be careful. There's gonna be something nasty to say about that.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Oh, yeah.
The family has that. I'm good looking for
Okay, guys. Audrey, go Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started, everybody. All right, came in, Faith came in, thank you. All right. Here, sit. Okay, sit there. Audrey has a mimosa, and she's ready for the meeting.
Not true. Not
I'm not getting
The mimosa. All right, let's get going. I know it's summer and the end of summer and everybody wants to get out and enjoy the last few minutes of summer. Plus we got school starting, so traffic is weird. And we've got lots of fun stuff going on. All right, so welcome aboard. Welcome. So glad to see everybody. We've got some of our partners here, which is wonderful. We've got some of our team, which is wonderful, not only here, but online. Oops, okay. So welcome. And my quote is, I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy. So, my word of the year is progress. And believe it or not, all these things that we're doing are progress. The problem is, or the challenge becomes, it's not swift and it's not easy because it constantly changes, right? So we'll talk about a change that's coming up in about 30 days. a little less than 30 days, a little more than 30 days, that we just want to make you sure of, make you aware of. So it's good. This is Marie Curie, so we know that she really helped everyone out. So we know that she knows that even though progress is progress, it doesn't always happen to be swift or easy. And it's because we're constantly training others. You guys, I know I'm an ass, and I know that I ask for things all the time, and you look at me, especially Audrey, and go,
Epistle form.
in epistle form. Yes, yes. And the reason I do it in epistle form is because I want you to understand why I'm asking for things. And you can always ask questions, and I really appreciate it. And I'm probably a little more OCD, especially on these forms, because I'm so concerned about you. I'm concerned about our brokerage, and most specifically, I'm concerned about our customers. And when we want to do things right in order to protect all the parties. Not everyone else out there is taking the time that you're taking to learn how this should be done, how these new processes should work. So when I send you stuff, I'm not trying to berate you, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page, okay? And I know that's tough sometimes because you got people on the outside trying to create their own documents or create their own forms or add stuff to the contracts. When you get those, or when you feel like you need to write something, we're the conversation that needs to occur. So we can determine, because remember, anything that's added supersedes what's written, anything that's written supersedes what's printed. So when you start adding addenda, it supersedes what you've written. If something is written in paragraph 20 and now you add an addendum, it supersedes it. So you need to make sure that the numbers are the same and that everybody's on the same page. So that's just kind of a little heads up to remind you of, let's have a conversation when something looks wonky. All right, so today we're going to really talk about what's your status. Everybody got their Facebook page going? This has nothing to do with that. I'm just kidding. You're all looking at me like status, but I don't understand. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about what your status. We'll talk about the delayed marketing. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's one of the new rules from NAR. I'll give you an idea of how we're implementing it here. Well, we'll get into it. Trying to see in the talk, just kind of bringing up today some reminders on things when you're doing contracts, reminders on things when it comes to processes. Just a couple things we noticed that we want to remind you of to make sure that you're staying in touch with what you've got going on, but know that you have resources there. We'll talk about our July accomplishments. We'll make sure that our business partners have an opportunity to chat with us and make sure that we're aware of what's going on with them. And then we'll call it. We'll call it a day and kind of go into, well, no, we won't call it a day. We'll call it the start of the day is what we'll call it. We'll call it the start of the day. So what's your status? There's a lot of confusion on how the status identifiers in MLS relate to your property. So I need to make sure that you're clear on what each status means, not only for you, but what you're sending to your customers and what you can send to your customers so that you know what's there. So let's just talk about that. First one here is coming soon. All right. Coming soon is your pre-marketing status. Coming soon is where you can start to market the property, start to get people engaged, start to look at the property, start to bring people in and create a strategy as to maybe why you're listing it this way and why you're using coming soon. Then active means that it's openly being marketed. It's openly being marketed everywhere. In other words, it's the big box people. It's the company website. It's the VOWs, which we call virtual office websites, which are other brokerage websites. So it's all those places. It's everywhere. Except, remember, when you're discussing your listing agreement with your sellers, and the seller says, I don't want third-party comments or the ability for someone to write a comment on my property, or they say, I don't want the address shown, any of those qualifiers will disqualify that property from certain websites. Do we know which ones? No, we don't anymore. It was fairly consistent. Zillow immediately, when people started asking for no estimates or no address or no comments, they pulled them off of their site. Now we've got a whole new issue coming with Zillow with the new delayed marketing at the end of September, but we're trying to deal with that now before it hits the end of September. But just so you know, when your customer, as long as you advise your customer, Mr. Ms. Seller, Ms. Seller, here's the deal. I appreciate that you don't want comments written about your property, but I need to let you know when you start searching your address, there are going to be websites that you may expect it to be on that it will not be on, and that's why. As long as you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. But you need to know up front that there are going to be websites that you may be looking for. It's going to be some obtuse website that you never would have thought about, that they are like, it's not on, my home is for sale at this point in time right now.com. And you're like, well, of course not. They don't take it when you ask for no comments. Now, here's what I will tell you. The big box sites, it is difficult to find the space to write a comment. You have to go 2 or 3 steps down into the website or into the page on the property to actually write a comment. So the chances of someone writing a comment on a property are pretty slim. There was a time when it was like, oh, you put comments, but not so much anymore. The Zestimates, I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't want an estimate of value on their property displayed, so sad, too bad. There are going to be websites that go ahead and display it. People have already looked. They've already probably know. Or they're going to look at the property next door and see what that value is and try and figure out what they want to attach to yours. Don't help your seller understand that the greater amount of eyes give us the greater amount of opportunities, give us the greater amount of opportunity for price and for conditions and terms that make sense for us. So that's the active. Remember, coming soon, it's your pre-marketing. Active is when you're on the market. Active under contract. An offer has been accepted. Active under contract. An offer has been accepted. The property is still required to take showings. Still required to take showings. So if your seller say, look, we're under contract, I don't want to deal with people calling and coming through my house, then you have to go to pending. Active under contract says, hi, we're active. These properties still go out to all the websites. They're all out there. They get exchanged with everybody. It's all good, but they have to be willing to accept showings. You can't put something in active under contract and then block off all showing times or no showings allowed. Remember, if you will get to withdrawn, but you would have to withdraw it. So please remember, they still have to accept showings. If they don't want showings, you have to go to pending. But this just notifies everybody that the property's got an active contract on it. Yeah.
Everything is good to go, so.
It doesn't, what pending means is that you're moving to closing.
Okay.
And so you can define it that way, and that's a great way to talk to your, and if you didn't hear it online, Hazel was saying she thought that pending really means, you've got your loan approval, all of your inspections are done, all of your repairs are done, and it can mean that. It can mean that if you define that with your seller. Active under contract just means, look, I've got a contract. Active under contract. You can identify contingencies in MLS, but you don't have to. You can just say it's under contract. So it's a little different from what it used to be. So I understand why you would say that. Does pending mean that all of those things are done? If that's how you define it with your seller, we're under contract. There are no other contingencies. Let's go pending. Let's stop the showings. That's fine. But if your seller says, I'm under contract, I don't want any more showings for right now, you have to go to pending. So you can be on the market 10 days, get an offer, go under contract, go to pending. Guess what pending also does? Stop stays on the market. Stop stays on the market. So if you are, pending will stop days on the market. Active contingent still accumulates days on the market. So if you're like, okay, we're going under contract, I feel pretty good about it, but there are a couple of things we may need to work out, but I don't want my days on the market to continue to accumulate. Great, go active, pending, stop showings, stop days on the market, pulls it off all the other websites, pulls it all off all the big box websites. And then if you find there's an issue, you can flip over to active contingent, or excuse me, active under contract, or wait and then close. So you can do any of those opportunities. Just like, I think if we start, especially right now when there's a challenge with listings and pricing and time on the market, if you present a strategy to your seller, something like, look, let's go ahead and go seller waiver of entry, which we'll talk about in a minute. That is not a status in MLS. So let's go seller waiver of entry, keep you off of MLS, allow you some time to fix the yard, paint the room, whatever it is. And then we'll go coming soon. And with coming soon, we can do public marketing. We'll push it out. We'll create an event around going active on a particular date. And we'll have a 10 to 4 open house with a bounce house and whatever. So that you create an event around that first open house. But if you present that to your seller, you're not presenting a strategy, right? So using your tools, seller waiver of entry, coming soon, active, using those different status options or marketing options as a way to present or create more excitement around the house. It may also be an opportunity that during that time, you can actually even talk about how you're going to adjust the price up, down, or in between. So pending, no longer showing the property. Under contract, no longer showing the property, right? Closed, we love closed. The purchase agreement has been fulfilled, or the lease agreement has been fulfilled. It's all good, closed. We are done. We've gone to the table. You've gotten your check. We've gotten our check. Everybody's happy.
Very
In most cases, yeah, very happy. And we hope everybody else is happy too. So that's a good one. The way that it changed a little bit when we did the data share was now we've got withdrawn, which we've always had, but this is temporarily off of the market. If it cannot be shown for 48 hours or more, it needs to go in withdrawn status and the sign needs to come out of the yard. Does the lockbox need to have to come out? No, the lockbox can stay on, no problem. But the sign has to come out of the yard, stop showings, stop stays on market.
It's 48 hours.
48 hours. 48 hours. It used to be 72, it's now 48. So these are times when you may have a family member who's not feeling well and you don't want to have people through the house. Holidays are a time when this happens. Maybe your seller has decided to do some of the things you suggested when you first listed the house, that they're going to go ahead and paint that orange room. And so now you want to come off the market for a couple of days till the painter comes, paints, and dries up, and they can reset up the room. So if it's 48 hours or more that you're not allowing showings, it has to come off of the market into withdrawn status. Days on the market stop. Why? Because you can't sell it because it's withdrawn, right? So days on the market stop. Just remember, if a house can be sold, that's when there are days on the market. House can be sold, that's when there are days on the market. So withdrawn, just 48 hours or more, can't be shown. Expired. This is permanently off the market as the listing agreement has reached its term. So expired is when we have a listing, which we rarely ever have, that you choose, or that the seller and you choose to let the term of the contract expire because of whatever reason, and you haven't received an offer, or maybe the offer that you received wasn't what you wanted, but that's the contract has expired. This is the original contract has expired. If you've modified the listing agreement to show a different termination date, then it would be after that modification. The modification doesn't mean that it goes to cancel. Because that's the other one that we added was cancel. This is permanently off the market as the seller and the broker have terminated. So if our end date on our listing agreement, even after modifications, is September 15th, now we decide to end it August 31st. August 31st would be a cancellation. If we went to September 15th, that would be expired. So notice the difference? We decide to expire it early. What's most often happening is we modify the listing agreement to change the end date and then we expire it versus cancel. So that's the only difference there is the cancellation would be something that you and the seller decide to do before the termination date, even after modification.
And clerk, a reminder that if you're going to cancel an agreement, you need to know about it.
Cancel or expired agreements, we have to sign off on it. Thank you. Yeah, we have to sign off on it. All right. So just a reminder, just because there is a slight difference, seller waiver of entry and coming soon. On the seller waiver of entry, this does not go into MLS. So what you're saying is, I want to waive the opportunity to put this into MLS. The seller is electing to waive using MLS as part of their marketing at this time. Property does not go into MLS, not into MLS. There is no public marketing. No public marketing on the seller waiver of entry. A little confusion about this. In other words, if I want to put my new listing, I've got it signed, I've got the listing executed, I've got the seller waiver of entry, and I'm so excited I'm going to go ahead and throw it out onto Facebook to show that I have a new listing. I want everybody to know about it. No, not when it's on seller waiver of entry. When it's on seller waiver of entry, no public marketing. That includes magazines, TV, radio, social media, any of that. No public marketing, none whatsoever. If the property goes public, you have to put it into MLS within 24 hours. Right? So if you choose to put it on Facebook and they catch it and there's a fine, you need to get it into MLS within 24 hours. You can market it to registered real estate agents only. So can you put it onto our private Facebook page? Absolutely. Can you put a flyer in everybody's email box from the Legends of Real Estate Agents? Absolutely. You can do all of that. You just can't do any public marketing. Please let me back up. Public marketing includes a sign in the yard. No signs in the yard, right? So nothing public, only within the brokerage. Now, this is where that whole Compass hoopla, rah, rah, rah is been going on for about almost a year now. That it was clear cooperation was upheld, and that clear cooperation is the requirement to put a listing into MLS within 24 hours. So now Compass is looking at trying to find some other ways to challenge the opportunity to keep a listing internal. That's their goal, is to keep their listing internal. There are lots of situations where we're finding that sellers who were in situations like this, either with Compass or another brokerage that was keeping listings, pocket listings. There are a couple of current lawsuits out there from those sellers who, after the fact and closed, found that they felt that they were not served well because they didn't have the opportunity for other buyers to potentially see the property and see what those other buyers would be willing to spend to buy their house. It's a risk that you take. Some sellers are okay, look, it's done, I'm gone, I can't look back, let's move forward. Other people are saying, look, wait a minute, I hired you to do a job and get me the most amount of money in the shortest period of time with the greatest terms and conditions. And what you've done is missed an opportunity potentially for me to have that. So we do have a couple of lawsuits out there now where sellers are suing brokerages about that. But you can market it internally only with a seller waiver of entry. Days on the market start with the signature date of the listing agreement. So even if I have a listing that's under seller waiver of entry, the date that the person signs is the date the days on the market starts. So technically, and this is where we push the edge a little bit, I've told you, when you have something under seller waiver of entry, and then you're ready to go active, use the date that you go active so that your days on the market start with 1. That's actually a bad thing, but it's a good thing for your seller because it doesn't misrepresent the days on the market. And right now, sadly, days on the market, our consumers are looking at days on the market. However, it is so inaccurate, it's not funny. If you go on to homes.com and you see a property out there, because they use days on the market based on when it hits their website, it would be, for example, let's say it's been on 10 days and now I withdraw it because someone's sick in the house and I put it back on in 3 days. In 3 days, it will start back at day 1, and it's really not, right? So it's the 10 days plus the 3 days, or excuse me, 10 days plus now the days on the market should say 11 instead of 10 because it was withdrawn, but it should say 11, and they started with 1. Consumers don't understand that, and they're getting misled. But if they go over to Zillow, it's going to say 15 days on the market because they're going to even count the withdrawn days. So there's no consistency in how that is actually working there. Some of them websites are calling it days on the website, others are calling it days on market. So there's no consistency. But our consumers, if we don't tell them, our buyers especially, if we don't tell them, look, days on the market aren't accurate in sources you're using, come to me and let's talk about the history of the property. This is another value proposition that you make with your buyers. Parents.
And when they take it off the market for a couple of weeks and then put it back on the market, does that restart the clock on days on market?
Not in MLS. MLS, so for example, if I have a property listed in MLS and I'm on the market for 30 days, and then I come off for 2 weeks as withdrawn, right? And then I go back on. When I go back on, it will have those 30 days and it will start at 31. If I go onto certain websites, it will have the 30 days. When I withdraw it, because the site no longer takes the listing, when it goes back on that site, it will go back as day 1. So it's very confusing to a consumer. They think, oh my gosh, this is brand new to the market. And it's really not. It's been on the market 31 or 35 days or 32 days, depending on the website and how they count days. So it's not consistent. Right. All right, word of the year, transparent, that's next year. Anyway, so just kind of thinking about what seller waiver does. The way I really encourage you to use seller waiver is to lock up your listing, allow your seller to do what they need to do, talk to people in the market of our company about the listing that you're getting, and then go active and possibly create a strategy for your seller. Why? You're showing additional value. Ms. Seller, here's the deal. I'm here to help you. I understand that you need to get these things done. Let's go ahead and lock up the listing so that what I can do is do what I need to do, which is pre-marketing, photos, make sure I've got my brochures ready for when you hit the market active. And then that'll just keep us out of MLS for those 20 days that we agree to. And now we can go ahead and go active, and we'll create some excitement about it. Maybe we'll use coming soon for a week just to create the excitement and hit the market active. You guys need to start thinking about strategies for your listings. Our listings are on the market longer. And actually, our days on the market are not horrible. We're averaging about 52 days on the market. Not a bad thing. But it's a lot more than it was 2 years ago. And sellers are going, I don't understand. 3 days? What's the matter? How come I don't have 17 offers? So just some thoughts on that. Watch it. I know. 1 second. Let me move this out of the way so people here can see. Excuse me 1 second. Can I see it? Oh, you'll probably see it up here, huh? Oh, well, it gets, excuse me 1 second. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hey. I can't find the cursor. Oh, wait, is there? Is there? There? Oh, well. All right. So with coming soon, it does get here. Look at Audrey. Oh, Kathy, there you go, Kathy. Yeah. All right, so with coming soon, it does get placed into MLS. The good thing about coming soon is it does get placed into MLS. You can market the property publicly. You can market the property publicly. So you can put a sign in the yard. You can put it in a magazine. You can put it in a newspaper. You can put it on your Facebook. You can put it on your social media. You just have to identify it as coming soon. That's all. Days on the market don't accumulate. So you don't get days on the market until you start showing the property. So coming soon, no days on the market. With coming soon, it doesn't accumulate till you go active, and no offers can be presented. So if the property is coming soon, or when the property is coming soon, and you have an excited buyer, they place an offer on the property, you can't present that offer to the seller until the property is active. Why? So that everybody else has an opportunity too, right? But theirs is the first one in. So you have to talk to your seller. This is so much about communication and so much about creating a strategy within the communication. Is, we can talk to our sellers and say, seller, here's the deal. We're in coming soon status, but how exciting. We have someone who's interested. And they've made an offer. It's contingent upon them viewing the property, but they've made an offer. Do you want to see that offer now? Or do you want to wait it out until coming soon goes active? No, I want to see it now. Great. I'll go ahead and make the property active. And we may get some other offers, but let's go ahead and make property active, and then I can present this offer to you. But if they understand what you're doing, if you explain to them and you do it through a strategy, here's the deal. I'm going to hold these offers, and then we're going to have multiple offers to present, right? When we go active. Could be a strategy, right? So what's our strategy? How can we help them sell? They always want shortest amount of time, best terms and conditions, right? And the property can be shared. I don't know what that says, to be honest with you. I don't even know what. Anyone read that? What does that say at the bottom? Or can you guys even see it? I think online you can see it. Can you guys see what it says on the bottom? The last one? Property details.
Property details can be shared to customer by agent.
Thank you, Brett.
You're welcome.
In other words, coming soon doesn't go out to big box. Coming soon doesn't go out to other websites, right? But it's in MLS, so you can see it. So if you have someone on a subscription and that property meets their desired criteria, you can send it directly to them, right? Go ahead. What are you thinking, Hazel?
But you can't show.
Can't show it. You can send it to them. You can tell them when it's going to be available for showing. You can set up a showing appointment with them and then schedule it when it goes active. But you still can share these. So even though it's an MLS, it's only available to the realtor base. So it's a positive thing, right? All right, so that difference between seller waiver and coming soon, those are the changes, or those are things you want to remember about seller waiver of entry and coming soon. Because then you're going to have an opportunity to forget all that and start over again. So here's the deal. Delayed marketing. What NAR said was, with this clear cooperation and everything, we're going to push it back to the MLSs. You as MLS have to decide how you want to do delayed marketing, but we now have a delayed marketing status, and you have to think of something, you have to think of a way to make that happen. So as it stands right now, on September 30th, what there will be is one form with 3 options. You'll still have the coming soon option, you'll still have the waiver of entry option, and you'll have a third option which talks about what delayed marketing truly is. The coming soon max will move to 30 days. There will be no changes. When you put it in, it goes in for 30 days. If you want to go active, you have to go active early. Here's something that we've learned about coming soon, is that currently, if you're in coming soon status, let's say that you're in coming soon status and you've got it in coming soon for 7 days, and your seller says, I'm not ready. Say, okay, let's go for 14 days. You can't change that. You have to call MLS to change that. We just tried yesterday on one, and it immediately went active, even though we had a date set up for an advanced date to go on the market. So you have to call them to change your coming soon date from what you have it to what you want it to be, and it still has to be within that 21 day. It will end up being 30 days. Okay, so max 30 days. Good thing is, you won't have to put things in for 3 days. So you'll have a 3-day window of putting things into MLS. You'll have an opportunity, so it won't be that 24-hour window, it will be a little bit longer. Coming soon listings will be sent out so that other companies can put it on their website. So it'll be sent out through Val Virtual Office website and available on our company website. Additional options will remain available for distribution. Days on the market will start with your start showing date. So days on the market will start with start showing date. That's no different for coming soon, slightly different for seller waiver. Watch for sessions in August and September, and we are obligated to have this implemented by September 30th. Now, what I will tell you is we're trying to make it consistent across the data share. We're trying to make it consistent across the data share, because what NAR did was push it to MLSs. Well, we have 57 different MLSs within the state of Florida. So you're talking about 57 different ways to do delayed marketing. So that's why we're trying to make it consistent within the data share. So some of these numbers may change a little bit, but right now the data share, the areas that our data share covers, down to Daytona, and actually maybe going into Hillsborough County and a couple of other counties in between. We're trying to be consistent in what that is, so that within the data share, a delayed marketing is consistent. And we hope that'll happen. But watch for this. Watch your newsletter from MLS. There are some dates this month. There'll be some dates in September, and the rule goes into effect September 30th, right? So it'll change it up a little bit, but you still have the opportunity for coming soon, seller waiver, and with delayed marketing, how that impacts those. And it'll only be one form.
Mark, can I ask a question?
Initial every place. I'm just kidding. Sorry, did someone have a question online?
Can I ask a quick question while you're
Yeah.
on coming soon? So let's say, for example, I have a coming soon and it's coming on market in 21 days. And of course, you get calls from agents that'll say, oh, I see you're coming soon. When is it coming on? 21 days. However, 7 days in, we get everything done. Somebody comes with an offer, they haven't seen it or whatever, but they're anxious to see it. They come with an offer and we go put it in active after 7 days. After 7 days, do we have any responsibility? Because you can have an agent that'll say, hey, I had somebody and you told me it wasn't coming for 21 days. Is there any ruling to anything that we have to do to bring it active sooner, any type of obligation to another agent, just so we don't run into any issues there that people would think that you said 21, but you brought it on in 7?
Right. So the question is, we got a property in coming soon, 21 days, get a couple of calls. I respond, it'll be available for showing in 21 days. It even says in MLS when it will begin showing. If we go active early, do we have any obligation to the agents that called and we told them 21 days? No, you don't. You wouldn't be in violation of ethics. You can talk about pathways to professionalism, and would it be a good way to reach out and potentially get a couple of extra showings? Sure. But you have no obligation to call those people back that called you, because before you can present that offer, or if they decide to go active early, you're moving it to active in MLS, which will notify all parties, all other agents. One, if they've set up an alert, but it will go on the hot sheet. And if hopefully someone will be watching it, or hopefully those people that called will be watching it. Are you good? Does that answer?
Yes, thank you. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Good question though, because what are our obligations? You know, somebody calls, and do we have an obligation to call them back? Technically, no, as long as we go active, that's your notification to everybody. That's your notification to everybody. So, any questions about this that you want to try and get out or trying to understand? It'll be a little wonky. We'll try and do a couple of examples so you can figure out how to use it and when to use it. But it will be one form. Number of days is extended. You will have some obligation though in the broker distribution. This is where, thanks. So I didn't write it down, but broker distribution, when you're putting a listing into MLS, there are tabs that you have to follow, like general and listing data and detail. When you're putting a listing in, one of those tabs that you never look at is called broker distribution. Broker distribution is what you would have to address if you don't want comments, if you don't want zestimants, if you don't want the address shown. And I can't tell you how many listings I see where you check the box that says no comments, and then I go back and check the listing just to make sure, because the sellers requested this with you, and now what are we doing? Well, in the majority of cases, no one has bothered to go check the box that says broker distribution, no comments. So that listing is getting comments or available to get comments, right? So now you're in violation of the agreement you've made with yourself. So you do have to use broker distribution. Broker distribution will come up as something that we need to look at. With this third option, it will give us the option to do realtor.com and List Hub with other listings, or with our listings in certain status options. So it will take care of all that status and marketing options. Yes, question. Sharon?
Oh, I didn't have a question. No.
Oh,
She
okay.
got her hand up. Okay.
Okay, cool. Anybody up there that I missed? Or that I can't see and has a question, just shout out. Okay. All right, cool. So just a heads up, we've got about 45 days to kind of acclimate a little bit. We'll keep you posted. Watch for sessions. Tea and talk, let's just kind of cover a couple of things. There is a difference between the homeowner's flood insurance addendum, which is addendum H, and the flood disclosure. The flood disclosure just has those two questions required on every single contract. The homeowner's flood insurance addendum, addendum H, is a contingency in the contract that if the buyer is not happy with the cost or need for flood insurance or homeowner's insurance, that they can back out because of that. So know that they are two different things. So sometimes if I ask you for the flood disclosure, you're gonna like, I've got the addendum. Well, no, not the same thing. Flood disclosure is required. The addendum is not a required item. It's if you and the buyer have agreed that those are two contingencies or a contingency you want to add to the contract, you would use addendum H. Very common that we've been having a confusion about that. So just know that they are two different things. Everybody okay with that? Well, too bad. It's kind of the way that it is, but that's another one of those things I'm asking for a lot of people about. Please make sure to include all necessary addenda on the contract, both listing and purchase. The listing contract, or the contract for sale and purchase, is your document. Everything that you do on the outside needs to be added to it. So we should be adding the seller waiver of entry. And the reason I ask you to add the seller waiver of entry to your listing agreement is because right now the listing agreement only says, I'm keeping this listing out of MLS ad infinitum. That's all. That means that if your seller wants to go active at any point, or when you go active, you now have to amend the listing agreement. If you write in paragraph 14, seller waiver of entry, and attach that seller waiver of entry, that document notifies them that if we do public marketing, it nullifies seller waiver of entry and we're in MLS and we're going hot and we're going live, right? So knowing that becomes important, understanding where that is, how that plays out becomes important also. So watch that, watch what goes on with that. But please note, we need to have both things, we need to have all things everywhere, if you will, for lack of a better term. It shows consistency and it references all those different pieces. Remember, anything that's added supersedes what's been typed, so an addendum supersedes what has been put into the contract. And if you then add something else into a written format, then that supersedes what's already been there. So you have to know the chronology and you have to be able to see all the different pieces. Training, we are doing a RISE training August 19th at 10 to 12. We've invited them in. This is a new product that's offered to you through MLS. What I really like about it, it's your basic electronic seller consult, buyer consult. It allows you to have steps in the process. You can customize it. You can communicate with your buyer or seller. And guess what? You can show value, actual monetary value for things that you do. So it's almost like being able to present them with an invoice that says, $7,000 paid and whatever it happens to be. So it's a great way to track what you do and how you do, an additional way to show value, and a way for your electronic buyer and seller consults to kind of come together. So we'll have an introduction class on August 19th, 10 to 12. It will be there, it's via Zoom. It's via Zoom, so you can zoom in or come and join me at the San Jose office. Next thing, guess what? August, that time of year, business planning. Business planning, that means we're planning for next year already, right? So August 19th, or excuse me, August 26th, we'll do our business planning introduction with our business planning outline, and then watch for a business planning roundtable where we get together and talk about different strategies. Plus, we'll be having sessions on business planning, like social media sessions. We'll be having other planning sessions. We'll be having videos from a couple of key trainers throughout the US.
Vision boards.
Vision boards. That'll be another one.
Yay.
Yeah. So watch for that, but please, even if you can't join us, on the 26th from 10 to 12, send me an email. I'll send you the business planning guide, whatever it is. Please just take a look at what you're doing this year and how you want to do what you want to do next year. Right? Think about how you want that to be. See how we can help you maybe come up with some ideas. So those are the things I've got in the tea and talk. So let's move on to our July accomplishments, which we are always fun to watch. So top listers for July, we've got the beaches with Hazel, nice. San Jose, Ray Arena, a nice little lot down there in Clark County. Oh, our teams were quiet, but our company tops is Hazel. All right, for written business. So written business, remember this is based on the number. So Lyle Gardner with 3, very good. He teaches the written business, and you've got in the San Jose office Karen Zambetti, who's for 4. Yeah. And she's at a home instruction right now. And the teams were quiet again. Oh no, Selby and Linda had 1. That's yeah. And company tops is Karen Zambetti. So congratulations to Karen. It's a lot of you are. Closed business, where was our top producers for July? Beaches, we had Faith Lanford with 3.3 million closed in 1 month. San Jose, we have May Hansen with almost 1 million. And our teams were quiet, but our company top Faith Lanford. So congratulations, please. I saw her online. I don't know if she jumped off, but I saw her online.
I'm here. Thank
Yeah.
you.
He's there.
She's there. Oh, yay. Okay.
Let's help out.
Peak performers, written business over 1 million in 1 month, written in July. So we have Lyle with 3.8, Karen with 3.1, Renee with almost 3.1, Sharon with 1.7, and Shannon with 1.7. So congratulations to them for the written business. Business is coming up, which is great. So closing August and September. And then for our close, our peak performers closed over 1 million. So we had Faith Lanford with 3.3, Sharon Mills with 2.7. Liz with 1.9 and Maria with 1.2. So all closed in July. So congratulations, closing over 1 million a month. It's pretty darn cool. Congratulations. Then we have our top 10 for, oh, I'm sorry, no, we'll do that in a minute, I promise. Listings, how are we doing? Listings fell off a little bit. So 2024 we had 22, 2025 we had 11. So we're about 9. I know you were pushing it for April and June, so you wanted to take a break in July. That's okay, you can make it up in August. I'll let that.
We'll take it in August.
Yeah, absolutely, we'll take it in August. Oops, I'm sorry, year to date, let me go back. Oops, what did I do? Where are we at? Well, let's remind everybody of three peak performers. Full remaining closed, yay! Year to date, all right, there we go. Listens, we're back here. So we're about 72 million versus 78, a little bit behind by about 6, off by about 10. Our average listing price has gone up. We're getting close to that 600,000 range, which is good. So fewer listings will cover that that spread very nicely, just very easily.
Clark, can I ask something, please?
Sure.
What was going on in April that the numbers were so much higher this year than last year?
Well, we could say the same thing for a lot of different months. I think that there's been shifts just in general. We had a little more consistency in 2024, but I think there's a little more anticipation or anxiety with sellers when it comes to the market and concern about time on the market as well as the rates. So I think that the listings have been kind of inconsistent overall, and as we started to see that kind of last quarter of 2024. So you'll see that as we go through the year. I think it's probably just inconsistent seller anxiety. For written business, I love the fact that you've decided to just keep going on written business and keep that going up. We're at 19 million, which is fantastic in written business. Big difference from last year. I think that if we're going to get a question on where that change would be, that would
It
be
was a blessing.
yeah.
Last month was a blessing. Y'all were fabulous last month.
So I think in part, when you look back at when rates started to change, you'll see that in written business, you saw us kind of dropping off a little bit, starting back in April. I think that a lot had to do with that, just buyer anxiety. And I think that that's shifting a little bit. I think the news is getting out a little bit more regularly that 6.5 is not a horrible rate. If you look at time, if you look at the timeline, 6.5 is actually pretty good, averaging about 8. So, not a bad thing. And then in closed business, we're at about 86 million versus 100 million. We closed the gap a lot, which is really nice. In July with almost 22 million in closed with 36 transactions versus 12 million last year. A couple more months like that, and I think that we'll really close that gap, which is fantastic. We would look to be in July, usually around, kind of right around that 100 million. So being off just by about 13 based on our average sales price and the number of transactions we've been doing, it's definitely doable not only to make that up, but to exceed that differential as we kind of finish off the year. We know that a lot of times July is a little slower. August, seasonality seems to be coming back a little bit, so we wouldn't be surprised if August was kind of moderate and September, October pick up. So that wouldn't surprise us. That doesn't mean you can't shock us. We're happy. We're happy. Those are the times that coronaries are fun. Anyway, with that change in business. So thank you all. We know how hard you're working. We really do, because we talked to a lot of you on the transactions. It's great.
And 20 million is our mark where we would love to be.
Yeah.
Each month consistently,
Yeah.
and we know everything shifts. So the fact that we were
Above that.
almost at 22, and that helped pick up for the last few months. So
Yeah.
very, very grateful, and thank you all for the hard work, not only in the closed business but the written business. So that means we've got momentum going, and love it for the second half of the year. So thank you all for everything you do.
We appreciate it. Top 10. So we've got Sharon at 15.7, Renee at 6.3, Liz at 5.3, Marie at 4.1, Diane at 3.9, Faith at 3.5, Brett at 3, Joanna Denny at 2.5, Lyle Gardner at 2.3, and Kay Sightseeing at about 2. So we've got some great numbers in our top 10, which we really greatly appreciate. It's really terrific to see. As well as Tony Gets You Home team at 4.6 and Linda Selby at almost 3.1. So what you should be looking at is what you anticipated for this year. In July, you should be looking at about 52%. That's kind of where we track. If you look, about 52% is kind of where we're at. So still a lot of opportunity. That's in a more traditional market. We've been kind of watching shifts and seasonality go. Still a lot of really good opportunity. And when you consider the increase in average price point that you guys are achieving, a lot of maybe work smarter, not harder. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. See how that plays out for you. All right. Where are we at then? We're comments, questions about any of that information? About what's coming up? All right. We want to make sure that our partners have an opportunity. So anything? Bill's over here. He's almost in the screen. Oh no, he is in screen. Wave, Bill, so we can see you. There's Bill.
Yeah, we've seen a little pickup in the market, come out with some good arm products.
Oh.
And with the inflation numbers this morning, they weren't as bad as they thought they were. So hopefully we'll see a reduction in rates. And I think that's about all I've got to say.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here too.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
we're gonna have a bet. I don't see rates going anywhere until probably fourth quarter, but you know, hey.
Yeah.
I would love to see them go down earlier.
Said better than you.
I know. Most people like what everybody says better than me. So great from Texana.
Hey guys, yeah,
You wave so we know where you're at. There it is. Okay.
I'm hard to miss.
Oh, sorry. That.
So no, I mean I mirror what Phil said. We're looking at it has been positive the last several weeks.
Yeah.
You know, coming down in a downtrend. I kind of think we're going to be pretty stable until maybe fourth quarter, hopefully a little bit earlier. So we'll get some stuff there. As far as we go, you know, the branch is here at the beach, and I've got everybody in house, and we're really efficient right now. So I'm doing bond loans in 8 days, close to finish or start to finish close. So the communication and everything we've got going on right now is great. And you guys are my number one priority. Mine is Sean. So anything you need, I'm available 24/7. Don't tell Roxanne. So anything you guys need, but I just want to be a resource more than anything.
Thank you. Moving away from lenders over to Dennis with Landmark. Hi, sir. How are you?
Doing quite
Wave, let us know where you're at back there. Go over there. There he is. Look at there.
Over here, yeah. I'm a little shorter than I don't have a beautiful hat on, so yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. Just want to thank you guys again for using us and allowing me to be here. You know, as always, if you guys ever have any sort of legal questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or any of us over there. We're always there to try to help you guys out.
And we do appreciate that. I call Dennis on a regular basis. Between he and the Florida hotline. My name is Mud. Anyway, but always
You're
like to
just
check.
looking great today, aren't you?
Check the facts, just the facts. Yeah. Just the facts. Yeah. Hey, that's true. That's true. Mr. Allen. Alan's relaxing on the couch.
Yeah, I'm over here. I've been very tempted to stretch out, but I'm trying to remain professional as possible. Last week I was on a CE call with BFAR about condos. Was anybody else on that? Anyone? No? Awesome. That means all the information I saved you can get from me. I got the whole training deck. So condos are not a 4-letter word, literally.
You're exactly right.
I've approved several projects. We have our own internal way to go on to the Fannie Mae website and approve them. You know, one of the big takeaways from that was list and sell condos with care. Okay. Florida has its own rules when it comes to condos, different from the other 49 states. You have to be extra careful. We have our own set of underwriting guidelines in the beautiful Sunshine State. A lot of the bigger projects in South Florida have been the troublemakers, but we're lumped in with them. So we all have the same set of rules, same set of playing guidelines. But it's still fun. They're still affordable. You just have to do it with care. You have to do due diligence. everything's under the same time frame now on the Farbar contract, right? There's not a separate timeline for condos. It's all lumped in, right? So you have to be quick. And it works well to be prepared. So talk to your lender, know what projects are approved. It's still a great option for first buyers and downsized buyers. We are at a point where you have to have someone knows what they're doing with condominiums when you're financing them in Florida. Okay, you can't just take a listing and then advertise you can FHA, VA, conventional financing available, right? And there's listings out there that still say that aren't eligible for 2 of the 3 options, right? So it's kind of a headache. So trust but verify, right? Anyways, that's the fun part.
That's
Is you get to do all the prep work when you take a listing. So just know, talk to your lender when you take a listing. Hey, how can I market this? I've approved a couple projects for people who have those listings and condos, and it's opened up a whole big buyer pool. So you get more traffic, you can advertise better things, and get it sold faster, and it's working. Anyways, condo is not a 4-letter word.
Perfect. Yes. And on condos, just as a reminder, we do require the condo rider and the condo FAQ. Just so you are aware, those are required documents. The condo FAQ you can usually get from the association. The condo rider has changed. We did a class on the condo rider. If you have questions about it, please make sure to ask me. Do you have to answer all 3 questions regarding turnover, milestone, and structural? Yes, you still have to answer the questions. Even if it was built in 1985, you have to answer the question, no, we don't need a turnover. Why? Because it happened in 1985. So you still have to answer the question. So you may get shots back from me on your condo rider where you're missing a couple of questions sometimes when you're taking the listing. It's really good to have as much filled in as possible when you're taking the listing because that shortens the process when the buyer's agent pulls it down from MLS. But there are only certain questions you should be answering, and some of you are answering questions on behalf of the buyer. I love the vision that the buyer already exists. However, they need to answer those questions on their own. So those are 2 things that we are asking about, which is condo rider and condo FAQ. So thanks.
The training that they gave, I'm happy to share.
Thank you.
Clark,
Yes,
also on the condo, is that if you are getting a listing on a condo, don't go to another active listing and pull their articles and that information if you're having issues, because a lot of these associations are so difficult, they don't answer your phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. So agents take the shortcut, go to another listing that's active and pull that, and things can change.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that if you get questioned at a later time, that you did your part in contacting the condo association and not PFA. That's plug from A or pull from S, and put a new thing in there. So just be careful with that.
Okay, so 1 second. So yes, none of our agents would do that on their listings.
It's just putting it out there. There's things that I see on the internet.
Yes, but of course, other brokers might be pulling your document. Anyway, to that, yes, please, if your sellers don't have the most recent condo docs, pay the $50 or $100 and use it as a marketing expense as a way to generate additional loyalty from your customer and go get the most recent ones. Something that will help you in 2026 is any condo complex over 25 units is required to have a website where all of these documents reside, and they need to be the most updated, and you should be able to get them from there, or the seller themselves can get them from there and give them to you. So that's one of the new rules. Is that were you gonna add that to help? Or?
Well, what Audrey said made you think that, for instance, there's multiple associations where there's sub-associations inside the master, right? So if you try to pull from a unit in a different sub, you're getting the wrong condo docs. So for example, Jardine de Mer, right out here, they have 180 some units, 24 different associations in there. Yep, and each 8-unit building is its own association. It's a lot of fun. lot of fun.
And Karen concurs the Jardin de Mer is a nightmare. So does Kathy. Kathy concurs to that. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Karen, bring us home.
Keep my mouth shut.
So, speaking of condos, I just have to share this. I just closed on a condo, a little $190,000 condo in Palm Beach. If you can believe that.
They have that in Ponte Beach?
One bedroom, one bath. It was already Fannie Mae approved. Nice. It was over off of Canal Landrum area, so it was nice. Anyway, the cute part of this is that it had been on the market for like 348 days with open order. And all of a sudden they've got multiple offers and they called for her highest and best, and she reduced her offer and got it. So keep that in mind. But anyway, while we are waiting for the rates to be reduced, I mean, we've heard some momentum that maybe the September Fed meeting, they might start lowering rates, and maybe we might have 3 rate cuts later this year. In the meantime, while we're waiting, lately I've seen quite a few buyers pulling some equity out of their houses. You know, everybody's sitting on their 2 and 3% rates. People are getting ready to move. People are getting ready to buy investment property. So I've been doing a lot of equity line pre-approvals. We do in-house equity lines and fixed rate second, so it makes it nice. You know, if they can do everything under one roof, get the equity line to pull the equity out, and then we also do the purchase mortgage. So that seems to be a trend that I'm seeing.
Cool.
So I don't know, check your database, people that have been in their houses for a little while that have some equity, give them a call and see if they want to see what their capability might be.
Cool. Great idea. Start with your centers of influence and then go to MMT and pull people who have lived in their houses for 7 to 10 years. See what kind of a list you can get from a target area that might be looking at. Okay, thank you guys, partners. Appreciate that. Anything anybody else wants to add? Say it's a listing that you want to make sure your partners and friends are aware of.
I want to just say one thing on behalf of our team and some spouses of our team. Those who do believe in prayer, we just got a lot of our team members that are going personally through some physical opportunities, and some of our team members have spouses that are going through the same thing. And all I ask is that maybe at night, if prayer is something that you turn to please keep our team and our team's family in your prayers.
Prayers, positive energy, all the good vibes, right? Health and safety and happiness for all of you too. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the reminder. Anybody else? All right, you guys, thanks for being here today. Thanks for showing up online and in person. You guys take care. Have a great showing day. Have a great business day. Have a great chill day if that's your day today. Anybody, anything over there that I'm forgetting? Appreciate y'all. Thanks for jumping on.
Thanks. Everybody have a good week.
When she just 16, getting